Hey everybody. I think I got it going on here. Ow, knocking stuff down. Let me see here. I can hear myself, so clearly it's working. There we go. Okay, well cool. Hope everybody's doing well. I guess I'm not on the call. So weird. So many little elements. So we stream off, I stream off the same machine that we stream our other live streams with. And it's pretty good, you know, it works relatively well, but I'm actually running it like Derek runs it, where I'm remote, which is fine. You know what I mean? I'm in the next studio, but I'm remote. Because I'm using another computer, works pretty good. The only issue is sometimes we run into problems like I'm having right now. So I will take a second here to type in this stuff. But yeah, it's too many different elements that all sort of need to work together, and they mostly do. Let's see here. Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. We have been very busy. We've been filming some stuff for the SGJ things, our annual stuff that we do with that. We are a little behind, I will tell you that. We got home early and had filmed some of it, but not enough. We still have Endeavor to do. I think it's almost, no, it's not true. We have one children's game, one kid's game, and one kid's game and one Endeavor. So that it's not ridiculous, but it is a lot. I hope you guys are doing okay though, and dealing with all the heat that's coming on. We actually are sort of kind of warm again. Hey Circe. Hey, you made it on Tuesday. Well, you're entitled to live your life, that is for sure. These things are not important, but I am having fun. I have been painting. They were on the camera. I have been painting the Immortus. Let me cut to that actually. I'm confident I'll be able to do that, but will I? Let me get back to that window. I usually have this in a separate window, but today I don't. There we go. So yeah, I've been working on the Immortus miniatures, and they're turned out pretty good. This guy here, what is going on there? I did go through all of the paint the other day. Is that a sponge for that thing? Good gosh, I don't think so. So my palette, just in the fridge like a couple days, ended up getting mold, I think, on the sponge, which is a bummer. There, you know, I had the copper things, all the stuff, you know. Think of doing miniature painting while reflecting on books on my channel. Not sure if that's a good idea though. Why not? Got to do what you want to do. Painting minis is fun, and it's super relaxing. I love it. I mean, you know, reading is fun too. I finally got a couple books that I want to read that I will read in the coming weeks, which is very exciting. I do have to clean my palette. Usually just pop the paints out, which is really nice. So there's just a fidget popper. I don't know who came up with it, but Adam Smasher was the one that, Uncle Adam over on Tabletop Minions was one who told me about it, I guess 2 years ago now? Close to 2 years? Wow, I guess I have been using this for a while. I know I gave one of these, I got two of them in the kit, and I gave one of them to Nick Murphy, and he's been gone for a year. I mean, they're not gone, they're just they moved out of the city for over a year now, so I probably gave it to him. I mean, I know I gave it to him when he was here, so it has been 2 years. This weekend is Origins. I think people are getting ready already. Maybe it starts on Wednesday? Goodness gracious, I don't know. It's a good con though. I really like Columbus. I've been there for a few conventions over the years. We have not been to Columbus since 2019. And no, we went to Columbus in 2021, but not for a convention. And we didn't do anything in Columbus on that trip. We were passing through. But I would like to I would like to go again. I really loved, I just knocked a little miniature head around. I would really love to hang out and do some of the, we really like the food there. Now, it's been a long time, 6 years now, I don't know. I'm sure it's probably still pretty great. But we really had a great time. There's across from the convention center, if you're going, there is a North Side Market, I think it's called, with, they used to have my favorite little deli and deli sandwiches there. And we've been to the deli since they closed the one in the North Side Market, but they're missing one sandwich that Nikki and I basically figured out how to make. It was just a turkey sandwich with a pimento cheese spread that was fantastic. Fantastic. The books I got, one of them is Harrow the Ninth, which it's follow-up to a book I read called Gideon the Ninth, which I really liked. And I don't remember the other name of the other one, but Harrow, that one I got through the library. And I waited a long time, so I probably wound up just buying the next one. If they're good, I don't know. I really enjoyed I was frustrated with the first one initially. Like, I like it because you're just dropped into it and wondering what is happening, but then it went a long time. Like, what is going on here? And then, which is fine, figured that was cool. The only thing I really ultimately was not excited about was the amount of battles happening, you know, that are extremely dense, and I'm not tracking it that well. I mean, I basically understood what was going on, and I guess that's all you really need to know, and probably what all they were hoping you'd get out of it. But goodness gracious, it was an interesting read. But I enjoyed it and was a little saddened by the end. But who knows? Who knows what goes on in the next stories? But yeah, there's a third book I believe out that I would like to check into as well. But I'll see how this one is first. Wow, it's a little warm in here. We don't have the AC in the studio working. We got it serviced. It was freezing cold. Next day, didn't work. And so then another guy came, and he didn't have a solution other than basically you got to replace it. So I am not sure what we're going to do. These are cool. I missed some mold lines, though, I'll tell you that. That is always frustrating. I don't know what I do when I do this, but it's a little bit of a bummer. But again, they're on almost every miniature I do on these Marvel United, because and I notice here that I didn't do the same purple highlight on the cloak. I mean, you don't really, it's poking out though, so it probably needs a little bit. There's a little bit on that one. My dream is to paint them all the same, and they get close, but not exactly the same. This one needs some purple in there where it over did the yellow. So let me get that purple out and paint a little bit of it. Yeah, Gideon the Ninth is neat. It's a very interesting book, and the idea of it is really kind of cool. It just, the battle stuff was rough. It was interesting, but the intrigue part was actually pretty great. But it's good. Nikki read the first one and enjoyed it as well, so she wants to read Harrow as well. So we'll see how that goes. I thought the Harrow character was pretty cool too. Gideon was awesome. If that's their name, I can't remember if that's really, I think it is, because, or no, it might be their, like their court name or something like that. I can't remember. It has been a while since I read it. That's how long I've waited for this book. I actually got it maybe quickly from the library, and read like I don't know, 1/10 of the book, and then I had to stop because I was busy or traveling. I mean, usually I bring books when I travel, but I don't always get to read them, so I don't know what the story was. But it was kind of cool, and Nikki read it a little bit later. We had to wait to check it out for her, and then she was waiting, and she was very excited to hear that the book is here, so she probably will just read it at the same time as me, if she's finished her other book. If not, I hope she will, because if we're checking it out from the library, you can't, you've got only like 3 weeks to read them. Hey, Alameda. How you doing, Stewie? I have not been to the Bay Area much in a long time. Probably, I'm trying to remember when we were last up there. And I like the Bay Area a lot. Dave is up there. I would love to go visit him and his mom. But Dave's taking care of his mom. It's been super busy. That's the biggest challenge. We've been doing the, we're going to do the discussion video without Dave, which is a true bummer. Number one, he's great at hosting it, which means I'll be hosting it, and I'm okay. And I just like his feedback. Now, the downer was I think last year he hadn't played a lot of the games. And Aaron hasn't, I don't know if he's played many. This year I hope he has. I have not, we haven't seen him yet. We're supposed to see him soon. We did see him at BGG Spring, but we have been very busy. And we're hoping that we film that this week. We kind of need to. But yeah, I think it's a good book. If you're into sci-fi, which it is, it's a weird sci-fi, but it's good. I mean, come on, that's kind of the best sci-fi. Hey, from the UK, how you doing, Funky Seaweed? Love the UK too. Haven't been to the UK other than a brief stop since 2017, maybe? Of course, we didn't travel a bunch in there, and we don't travel as much to before the spiel. We used to do, wow, that is bad. Once again, these things are these easily come out. I don't like it. Wish they were a little bit more stuck in there. But I keep doing it on the other one. I didn't realize this one was having a problem too. But yeah, we don't travel as much before Spiel when we go. It's looking like we won't be going this year, which will be a bummer because we haven't, of course we didn't go in 2020, but didn't go in 2020 or 2021, I think, actually, because I had gone to Gen Con and I kind of felt like I had done a little bit too much traveling with the pandemic stuff still going on. And so yeah, I missed 2 years there. I had been going since 2000 to Spiel since 2009. But this year it's too much stuff. We really, the focus is on, which it always is, but the focus is on getting the games for the BGG library. And I definitely would like to help with that, but we don't need too many people ultimately. We do, got to collect a bunch of games quickly, but it's mostly us talking about what we do at BGG, Board Game Geek, on our media stuff. And those are very valuable meetings, but maybe next year. I mean, the other thing is family stuff. Nikki's parents, her dad's not doing that great. And, my mom's getting older too. And so, I mean, it's exactly why Dave, he used to go to this convention in April, and he decided that 2019, the next year, 2019 was the last time he went, next year he was going to take a break from it. And, we know what happened, but he immediately went out and took care of his parents as soon as just before the lockdowns. I mean, it was amazing. I was blown away at how quickly he had decided that he better get out there. Oh, paint by watching me? Okay. Paint busy? Or just, hey, what kind of priming are you normally using? So this is Uno Maestro. Uno Maestro I use, here it is in its horribleness. I use Stynylrez, which is you can actually brush this on. It works fantastically in airbrush. It is made by Badger, or for Badger, so I don't know, maybe they make it. I feel it's really good. I do want to try some of the other ones. I mean, this one's older. The bottle's not as old too, because I bought this thinking, oh, I'm just going to go through this so quickly, and I do it with an airbrush. Because you think, oh, rattle can, I go through that pretty quick. This is forever. Let me see if I can see how much is left in here. I mean, I feel it's like 2/3 of a bottle still. So there's no reason to buy any more paints. Now I do have all 3 colors that I use, or all shades that I use. I use the white and the gray. Did you notice that the other thing about that other one is that the lid is different. It actually got broken in shipping, and which was very weird. I think I ordered them at separate times, and so I had another cap. But the reason why it was okay is they had a red cap inside the bottle top that prevented it from leaking. So it didn't leak, which was great, and didn't dry out. But I do like this. I would suggest buying a smaller, by watching you do so. Yeah, well, thanks. I'm happy that you're learning how to do it. I love to paint. I have now been painting. Well, I started when I was little, pretty young. My parents had bought me like World War II stuff, and I painted, and then I stopped, and then I picked it back up, and then I stopped. Then I picked it up again 25 years ago, and then painted for a while, probably till 2010, then stopped and picked it back up in 2017 and stopped a little bit, and then when the pandemic hit, I really started doing it. I started doing these. I got these in, I think 2021. I think the Kickstarter was in 2020, and I started painting them because what else can I do, you know? And we were working, but still, you know, you had a lot of spare time. And I love painting the Marvel United stuff. Now, I have so many, as you can see, I'm now painting 3 of everything. I have so many things to paint, it's kind of out of control, but I'm trying not to buy more stuff. I had Arcadia Quest in my hand, sort of, at BGG Spring. We have a flea market sale, and we also have a charity sale. And I think there was a charity item that had minis too. I bought one last year. I think they were done by Ninja Division or something like that. I was very excited to get it, but I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I'm trying to really focus on getting these done. It would be nice to be, just a little bit quick, more, have the time. Now, you know, I try to paint at least a few days, at least a day or two a week, but that has not happened because we were away and busy. I think last week when I painted these, because I'd only done the cloak, so I did his, I don't know what his shirt is. Maybe it's a jumper, I don't know. And painted that in his gloves and stuff. I did that all in the last stream, which is great. I mean, I love it when I get a bunch of stuff done. But the matte cam is choppy, huh? Okay, well, let me see here. Let me just cut it off, because I know it's the HDMI thing. So let's try it. Thanks for the tip, Opal. Let me know if it continues to do it after I think I switched it on. I did. Seems pretty good here. Seems good there too. But yeah, it's almost always related to the HDMI. Wanted to make my games look a bit prettier, but let's see if I can achieve it. Watched a lot of tutorials and going to give it a try with this lap. Well, that's basically what I'm doing, Uno Maestro. So here's what the minis, let me show you one that's not painted. Well, I started on her, another squirrel girl. So I paint them gray. I paint essentially gray. What I'm doing is, I tell everybody this all the time, but I like to tell people about it because it's why I'm doing this. So here is another Kang, and it's a little bit better. I've been painting them brighter than I used to. So what I do is I paint the entire miniature black. Then I paint, this is me doing airbrush. You can totally do it with dry brushing too. And there's other methods, but like I find I'm just happiest with this now. You know, involving an airbrush just adds expense, you know. Hold on, let me take a shot here for a friend. Okay. Cool. But what I do is then I paint it gray at a 45-degree angle, and then I paint it white from directly above. And so it gives it the shading automatically. Now, I used to do this when I painted miniatures anyway, it would give me the idea of how you shade it, right? Now what I'm doing is extreme. So I want it, and I want it to be so it's a little bit less dark when I paint them. So I don't have a ton of painted, well, yes I do. Here's some older ones. And some of them turned out great. Like this is one of my earliest of the Marvel United that I painted. And it turned out really great. Like you can see the shading is all from the lighting. Because the paints that I'm using to color, I'm using contrast paints. These are from Citadel, and they're great. They're little, oof, that is not sealed. What is going on with these bottles? The paint is expensive. These are nearly $8. I don't know exactly what these are. This is actually a bad bottle of this stuff. I had to actually get it replaced. But these are the speed paints from Army Painter. So these are Citadel, Games Workshop, and these are Army Painter. They both function similarly. They are sort of transparent, so that the undercoating comes through, and it looks great. And so as you're painting that, generally, I try to do, so what I end up doing is I'm not using speed paints in the way that they're meant to be, which is you paint the miniature one color, just like all white or an all off-white. I have a can of the white Scar, so you can use rattle cans too. And using it, this is just me trying to be a little bit more, a little bit more visual interest for the miniatures, but there's no reason to not do just spray it white and paint it. You know what I mean? You don't have to use Citadel. This is actually pretty good spray paint. It's very expensive. Actually, Games Workshop sent me this. So they sent me this plus the second wave of contrast paints, which was super nice of them, because I was like, I was painting this stuff, and they're like, would you like it? I'm like, sure, that would be great. And so I use it all the time. But, and I mean, I really like them. I think the speed paints are pretty good. There are a few things, I mean, for the price difference, maybe it's worth it. But I will tell you now, most of the paint bottles that I have of Citadel color are the original bottles I bought, and I'm still working on them. So, for example, I've only bought one bottle of this, and it has 2/3 of the bottle at least left of it, and I used this one a lot. It doesn't take a lot to paint the colors on these, there are multiple methods. So I also painted this one. I always have this one here now. This one I painted by dry brushing. Now I went in and tried to fix her face, and it's not done. But you have to be real careful when you're doing lighter colors, especially white. It tends to get cakey if you're not careful, and I wasn't careful on this one. But it's great because this is all dry brushed. So dry brushing means I paint the whole thing black, and then I use a soft brush. In this case, I used a makeup brush, but I have dry brushes here too. I used a makeup brush. This is like $5 at most. And you put the tiniest amount of paint in here, and then you brush it all off. There are other methods to this too. There's like a wet version of this, which I'm like, well, then it's not really a dry brush. But you brush the white, it's very faint. So you wipe it off on a towel till there's almost no paint left, and then you just delicately, a little bit of vigorousness, but you brush it till you get enough highlights on it, then you go that way. The problem with this for me was it made the faces, particularly for the females, look like they had 5 o'clock shadow, and I didn't like that. So I was trying to fix that, and I'll probably get back to it at some point. But they're really cool methods to doing that. So if you do the full-on spray it all white, or airbrush it all white, or paint it all white, then you just put the colors on, and the colors settle themselves and give you shading. I just like the more extreme shading that we're getting here. You'd get some of that, but like you wouldn't get these bright points where like this, this was literally just me spray painting it down, and it's the paint that caught it. Now I tend to cheat that a little bit. I don't necessarily spray directly overhead, but a little bit, you know, moving it around, but still trying to come straight, you know, straight down at the miniature, and it does a pretty good job, you know. And this literally was like one of the first ones. One of the reasons why I use the airbrush is I get smoother paints. I have done plenty of undercoating with the black, and if you're using like the Stynylrez, and I'm sure many other primers, they lay flat, so you don't have too many brush strokes. But yeah, these things turn out really quite good, and there's lots of methods to it. You don't have to go that route, you know, you can go any way that you feel that you're going to get, and you know, you should try out a bunch of them. I think they're great. Start black, then gray, and then third layer. I wanted to try, oh, there you go. That would be great. That would be great. Don't go too gray. Again, you want it to look like, I just put this here. You want it to, you want to see the dark underneath it, right, to get that shading. But I really like the airbrush, and I think the dry brush stuff is fantastic. I wish I had painted a Jurassic World Legend of Isla Nublar, is that Legend or Legacy of Isla Nublar, which was a game from Funko, which is out there and is relatively inexpensive. And it had some great minis, and I painted one of the ones that was like from Jurassic Park 3, that was under a dinosaur in the water, and I did that whole thing with dry brushing, and I was so happy with the results on that. It made it look like, you know, the Japanese you know, prints, you know, that you have, like the wave and stuff like that, sort of, which is cool. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to paint. I don't know what I want to do exactly next. I kind of want to move on, but the thing is, this guy's not done. These guys are not done. Actually, let me look at my example. I do have it open here, amazingly enough. There we go. So there's blue going on there. I don't know what that is. That energy waves maybe or something like that. I mean, I was handling them a lot, so I feel like I need to touch up. Although, you know, who knows? I also feel don't get too crazy about it. There's, you know, they're worth. Actually, I think I need to paint this one with the post here. So I have a door. Not a door, excuse me, a handle that I chopped, or maybe it was a piece of dowel that I had chopped. I've had it for ages, and it's one of the first things I used as a miniature holder. I don't think I've ever airbrushed with this on, but on one of these things. I do have like a handle to paint stuff like that. So now I need to find the color. And so I was saying I use the paints, but one of the things that I do to build it up is, because I'm painting it over a shaded, pre-shaded mini, I tend to start with these with some of the medium. So they have, this is the medium for contrast paint. This is a technical medium. Why won't that? There we go. What I do is I build towards the intensity that I want sometimes. Not all the time, sometimes. Wow, see, I got purple there too. I'm not doing a very good job. So, let me find a paint. I wonder, maybe I'll try one of the blues that I have from the other range here. It's too green. I'll do this one. I don't have a ton of them, but I have some of them. I have most of the Citadel paints, but so they sent me everything from the second wave, but I didn't buy all of the first wave. I bought a lot of them. I think I'm shy like 9 bottles or 8 bottles. I kind of want to get them all just to see, because I based it on my initial purchases on what other folks are saying about the quality of the paints, and I now use them differently. So, and you know, I said there were issues with the the speed paints. My problem with them is, first of all, the bottles. Even though I love dropper bottles, they scare me because I have now had 2 times, and then, you know, as you saw earlier, it popped off a little bit. But I also we had a bad paint. I said I had to get one replaced. Well, that was because the pigment was bad. I've never, you know, I don't think all of them were affected, but they were first wave, I think, once. No, it couldn't be first wave because this bottle is 2.0. So I don't know. But let's see here. Where does this go? Right here. I should probably leave it out for now. Okay, and then I'll put a little bit of the contrast medium. This is our speed paint medium. That was the problem with this one. Is it, I literally, like half the bottle flew out when I was trying. So you shouldn't trust that the bottle is clear. This looks like it is okay. But I have made a little tool. Somebody suggested I tape it on, but I actually pin viced a little hole and then stuck a piece of paper clip into it so that I can just, you know, put into the bottle here and make sure that it's clear so that you don't spill, shoot the paint out, you know, the finish out. I've thankfully not done it with the color, I don't think, but I've done it with this twice. One time real bad, second time not so bad. That was when I decided to, I think that was on the stream. Somebody's like, you should do this. I'm like, oh. And so I made that. So as I said, I'm going to try to build this up a little bit. Let's see here. I have like these stir. This is kind of too, I think it's too intense still. Wow, that's a strong color. I'm gonna go even lighter than that. Let's see here. So I barely, well, maybe I put more in there than I thought. Let me see here. Let me wick up a little bit of this paint. Let's see. Oh, hey, we're just so much stuff going on here. I was using, I thought, the orange brush the other day. Does not look like it. Oh, you know, I was using the green one. One of the green ones. Oh, there it is. Goodness gracious, what a knucklehead. Okay, let's see if it's too much. Probably is, but you know what? It's only too much if I'm referring to another photo. Otherwise, it's whatever I've made it. Let's put a little bit on here and see. I'm painting this one. Let's do this one. This one actually looks a little bit better. Oh wow, it's much finer than I'm much more. Oh no, I guess I had water in the brush. But this is okay. It's not really on camera. But you can see these paints. Now this one is, the intensity is reduced. Still looks pretty darn strong as it's settling in here. Now, dry brushing is one of, Uno Maestro was talking about dry brushing. It's a good way to bring out highlights. One of the things that I tried, and I've actually seen more people recommending it, is that you do the shading and then you do a dry brush on top of that to really give it the the pops, which it sounds like that's kind of what Uno Maestro is doing. Will be doing, because I would get to the point. My problem with so here's an example. This is when I airbrushed to prime recently, and you can see it's not very bright, and I've been wanting them brighter. So I probably will do another coat of this. I mean, I'm trying not to change. It doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to change my process too much because they're all sort of unified, but at the same time, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm just being, kind of crazy. Yeah, we played, Nikki and I played, I think everybody's played Endeavor. That will probably be, I don't know if Brian has, but I don't know that they're going to be involved. Everybody's busy. It's crazy how the schedules are this year. Dave was usually one of the guys you can count on, but he has he's taking care of his mom and keeping busy with that. So it's been weird. But hopefully we can actually do it. If not, it's just going to be Nikki and me, and that's a possibility too. Maybe, I think Derek played a bunch of the games, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Scott did. We played some of those games together at BGCon. This is what's really great is we love BGCon Spring. I mean, I love both the cons, but Spring is pretty awesome because they have the newly nominated games there to play. And they bring them with them, and it is so fantastic to just really have an idea relatively quickly of what we like. That's what the whole point of what we're doing is. I mean, we also dream that we're going to tell you what, we're guessing what the jury might pick. Last year, my choices, I think it was my worst year ever. I don't really... The jury has changed a little bit. It's a little bit more gamers, which is cool because it's more in line with what we might pick. But I don't know how that works for in Germany. I don't even know what the I'm sure that I know that the award still has impact on sales and things like that. So it is worth doing it, but I know that there have been instances where an award was a disappointment because the game wasn't what people expected. Now, things have changed since the one I know, one or two that I know of that happened. I think there are two that I know of. But it kind of hurts the brand if it gets too gamery. And a lot of people were complaining that they were doing so many party games. And one of the games this year is a party game that I think is great. Actually, I'm going to have a heck of a time picking what I would choose and what I think the jury will choose this year because I think they picked some pretty great games. We did not play Endeavor at the con because, as I was saying earlier, Nikki and I have actually played it for the most part. I don't know if it changed much since we played it during the campaign. They reached out and asked if we would be interested in covering it, and we were like, yes. And so, wow, that looks pretty good. Let's see here. So I may go back and do a little bit of light dry brushing on the very edges of this, and then maybe go with another layer of this blue on there. Maybe. It has to dry a lot before I can do that, though. And I just used speed paints, which I like them, but I don't think they're quite as quick drying as the contrast paints. Now, I put a lot on, so it's going to take a while to dry. And I will, varnish it and everything later, so it'll be a little bit different. Once it's done, right? I don't like them to be too shiny. Now, I have some elements that are shiny when I do it. Yeah, that's a lot of purple on there that I got to fix. Now, I was doing some sort of they had something in the picture of stuff dripping down. And so I think, actually, matter of fact, I'm going to try to reduce the intensity of this, which I had planned on doing, and I might come back and do one more highlight after that. It's funny, I painted all these real fast, so it makes it difficult. It's okay to do it, I suppose, here, because I'm not going to be touching that, and I'm not painting the edge. So I was looking at some photos that people had done, and they are painting the color of the mini on the edge. And I have to say, that's probably a valid approach. I like them to be black, but the reality is to know villains, you know, these are basically just movers, right, in the game. And they just go to different positions, and then you can do your attacks, which is all card play. So the minis are absolutely not essential, but they are essential, or I wouldn't be buying the game. It makes it so that it's fun, right? Like to see this stuff. But if you had the colored edge, you would know more specifically what the villains are. Now, really, the only thing you need to worry about is your stuff and the villain, right? You don't necessarily need to worry about the other players. They're all going to keep track of themselves. But I suppose when you're in a location to determine what you got to do, it might be better if it were clearer. Got like a little bit of stuff on here. Let's see if I can trim it off with the blade. I wonder what the deal with that was. Maybe need a little tiny bit of white on there. I've been trying to use, I'm getting low on this one. This is actually the first bottle of the Pro Acryl I bought because it was very, very highly recommended white. And it is really quite good. The other one that I tried recently that I think is pretty good is the Game Color Dead White. I don't quite think it's as good as it's kind of maybe a little bit tiny more chalky, but its coverage is pretty awesome. So I was using it for something else. Is this the brush? Yes. I'm going to paint this. I'm going to paint over it. This may not be a good idea. I just want that looks weird, whatever the heck it is. Although, who knows? Cool. Okay, so I need to make a little bit of a mix of my favorite color in quotation marks, which is Basilicanum Gray. Where is it? Is this one? Gosh, I have too many bottles. Here we go. So this is one of the ones that I spilled. It's getting low, but it does not function. So that's another thing. You don't want to spill these paints. I used one of these to hold the paints when I mean, I've had it probably since I spilled the stuff. I don't know. But I use this because then it's less likely to get spilled. The problem with these bottles is it has this big lid that is another thing that you can touch and knock stuff over. So this actually helps. But this paint does not have, these contrast paints generally have multiple types of pigment to do the settling and stuff like that. And if you, I don't understand how that spilled and got messy, but because literally it doesn't work the same anymore. It's really just a shade, but that's okay because I'm trying to knock this down, and it would be like a shade anyway if I use the regular paint. But I'm trying to get through this because this is the first bottle of this I bought. It's still hanging in there, and I paint a lot of stuff on these minis with this, and I spilled it, right? So it's gone a long way. So I'm going to make this very light, and I'm going to have to use the contrast medium for that. I don't know, they might be okay mixing them, but I generally use color with, series with series on these. Standard acrylics, I don't worry about it generally, but as a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever worried about it. I've always had multiple brands. The most that I've ever had now of a standard acrylic really is, I've had one other set that kind of was okay, but it ultimately wasn't a very good paint system. But I did buy the 50 Army Painter mega set, or no, not mega set. Maybe it is the mega set. And You know, I'm mixing a lot of this, and I have one mini that's painted ready for this. Oh, well. And ooh, that looks good though. So what you do is you can knock it down with these glazes. I do that on the cape. So the cape, I painted it with, painted the one color here that I was touching up with earlier. This is Moonlight Coral. That is what I used as the main color of the cape. I did build to it a little bit, like I was saying, where I started with it thinned out. Then I painted the highlights with fluorescent purple. That's this color here from Proacryl. I really like their fluorescence. I know I did not like the 2 bottles of stuff that I bought from Vallejo, and they're fine, but they were not great then. And I think I bought a green, so and a blue maybe, and blue is terrible. I mean, I guess blue is so bad these guys didn't even bother to make a fluorescent blue. I'm not really certain what the deal is with the pigments and stuff that oops, it's not focusing. I do really love them. And I think they do a great job. So then I put that fluorescent on it, and then I glazed it with that same purple, this one here, the Moonlight Coral, that was really thinned down with the speed paint medium. And it turned out great. It knocks it down a little bit. It's a little less intense, which is a bummer because I actually like the intensity of the shading. So what I did, I didn't actually explain that. I painted this where I started with it. There's multiple ways to do it, but the way I end up doing it is I generally paint very, very thin all the way out to the edge, as wide as I want it to be. Sometimes it doesn't really work out that way. I go a little bit wider than that, you know, with subsequent coats. But I keep building it up and just keep getting thinner and thinner till I get to the high point of the highlight. I did the same kind of thing here where I started on the edges and then just put a little bit on the top, you know, at the very end to get it the brightness that I wanted. And then you kind of really need to put a glaze over it because it tends to reduce the gradation. Even though you're trying really hard to blend them while you're doing it, it's tough. You don't always get it successfully done. So, and you can see on this one here, it's got a little bit of that going on. Let's see what this one looks like here. They look good though. I mean, there's no reason. I'm not trying to win awards with these. I just want to paint them to play with them. And that's really, you know, there's a case to be made to try, if you really want to become a good painter, to try to paint and compete. But I don't have any interest in that. I also don't have the time to really devote to painting something that way, as much as I would like to. But yeah, these are great. And that looks pretty good. It definitely brought it down a little bit. Everything was wet because this is again, I used contrast medium on this one. So these tend to, contrast medium is literally the base of the paint. But these tend to slow the drying down a little bit. But the contrast paints really tend to dry quicker. Now, this is doing pretty good. You can see there's little pools of it that will take a little while to dry. But it's cool. They're all really good looking. Oof, I missed a little bit of blue in there. Or it settled. Certainly possible. Huh, thanks. I mean, I do an okay job. I'm not incredible. I wish I was a better painter. I can do a little bit more detail if I go crazy. I mean, I always use this as an example. Well, these two here, I really was really happy with these. This is one that I did in a traditional painting method that's more like what they call the heavy metal style. And it's not there, but it turned out pretty good. Lots of detail, too much stuff. This is when I painted this last October, and it's not competition level or anything like that, but I was really happy with it. I put a lot more effort into. I had time. I only had 4 minis, so I was working on these for a week or so, almost a week, while we were in Germany with our friend Sebastian and Annie. He had actually bought me this because I couldn't find it for a reasonable price here in the States. It's available again. There's actually some great, so they redid the system. This is for Warhammer Underworlds. They redid the system, trying to make it a little bit more approachable, even though it was very approachable initially, but it kind of got a little complicated, with each successive iteration. And they now have these box sets that are like $100, and as little as $80-something, I think I saw on Amazon. And they have 4 different factions in there, so 4 war bands. And that's the Crimson Court is one of them, and it's great. I mean, I want to buy that set again. Good gosh, looking at these bottles, and they are not closing well. And I haven't opened this one for a while. The good thing about these is they tend to it's all the drying paint. They tend not to, as long as you got it mostly closed, it won't dry up too quickly, but still, I need to really review them as I'm putting them back. Let's see here. Man, I really did a terrible job of getting purple from the boots, I think, maybe, on, I don't know what I was doing there. This was probably painting something else, maybe painting the boots. I'm not going to worry about it too much, though. Maybe put a little bit of gray. Okay, so I have well, let me just put this gray on it and see what it does. It's pretty opaque, so it's pretty transparent, so I don't think it's going to really be doing that great of a job. My head's in the way. Yeah, it's only popping it out. I do want to paint the, I'll do a little bit of white and a little bit of black and just maybe do some of this. But yeah, I should look up and see where I bought the Pro Acryl from. I probably bought it from Monument Hobbies. I just want to see when I bought it, but I'll tell you the difference. You can tell is it says, first of all, Armstrong, BC, British Columbia, and it's made in Canada. They do not make them in Canada anymore. This one's Canada too, so I must have bought maybe the black at the same time, I don't know. But here, let's look at some of the new ones. They are from Phoenix, Arizona. It's made in the USA. I think they're working with Creature Caster. I don't know if Creature Caster made the paints, but I think the issue is that they just couldn't keep up with the demand, and so they moved production to Arizona, where they actually have a facility now, and they're doing a pretty neat stuff. There's a great video. I think it was Miniac who went and visited, and you know, they show all the folks working on it and the things that they do. And so they keep the paint in stock mostly. Maybe pigments run out so that they don't have access to them, you know, and it slows down some of the paints. No problem, Uno Maestro. I'm glad it helps. I really love, I mean, these are very comic-y anyway, right? It's not like it's making it more realistic, but I like the, I like it to be a little bit more subdued. Although I did like Adam Warlock. Is he over here? And I was not ecstatic with that one. No, I still have the one I have to paint over there. Let me see if it's over here. Nope. Where is it? No. But I really love painting them. I've done actually, the one I painted the most is Iron Man. Because I tried a bunch of different methods on that one. I did a dry brush one, and then I did another one where I painted them with metallics. Wow, this one is not coming out of here. So this one's getting dry. You know, I think whites have a problem because I had a problem with the transparent white. Let me see if that one was made in Canada. Or I suppose they're probably happy they moved production to Canada. I mean to the United States. Yeah, these are from Phoenix. But this one, and they put mixing balls in their paints too. These are like, I think the first one that I ever had that had some sort of mixing thing in it was the Reaper paints. They used to put little pewter or whatever white metal skulls in theirs, and I loved it because it worked great. And it got me using ball bearings. The problem is, of course, you really want to find stainless steel. So let's see here. I'm going to try to reduce that intensity of that purple. But painting's fun. My friend Sebastian is just amazing. He's such a great painter, and he's just fast. I in the time that I was all proud of what I was doing, but in the time it took me to do 4 minis, you know, he probably did, I don't know, just so much stuff. He's just very quick, and he's been painting steadily for a long while, so that's part of the reason. You just got to paint a lot. And you'll get better, you know what I mean? It's definitely a reality if you just keep on it. I'm okay about it. I would love to paint more though. I would just love it. Life gets in the way. My mom comes over most weekends and I want to hang out with her. You know, I'm not always great about it either because I have things I have to do, but she's coming over to hang out and I don't, you know, I don't know, it's funny. I call my mom every night when I'm home, and I definitely call every night when I'm away, including the weekend nights, which I won't usually call. Wow, it's drying. Looks pretty good there. So let's see. This one's actually pretty dry. Let's see if we can do a little bit of a highlight. I'm going to use a smaller makeup brush if I have it here, or one. I actually have the. These are the Army Painter dry brushes. I think it's $20. These are okay. I don't know what kind of hair they use on these, and these feel soft though. This one has a lot more paint in it, which it shouldn't, or maybe that's just my imagination. I might not have ever even used that one. They're pretty great. This is the other type. This is another one of those elf, like the big one I showed you earlier. They all do a pretty good job. This one's a little giant, but I was doing larger things with this, so it's completely valid. There's not a ton of paint on it, and I've used it quite a bit. I saw something recently, like a cleaning solution for makeup brushes, but you just want the tiniest amount of paint. So let's just do this one so you'll see it, like how much is on there. So I have the paint on the palette. I don't really. What do I usually? I've gotten to use something else for this stuff, and I'm not remembering what it is. But I'm going to actually apply it with something else so I can actually see, because that's my problem with this. I can't really see how much I'm putting on. That's actually quite a bit of paint, and I want less than that when I'm done. It's actually not great. Oh, I know. I don't even know where it's at, so I can't use it. But I made a board that you can use. Artist Opus makes. I've never bought their brushes. I've been tempted when I've been at the cons. It seems like very little. Maybe there's still some in there. Surprising enough, there is. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's not enough paint though. And I'm kind of brushing it off with the... so you know what? I actually didn't do the one thing I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to wet the brush a little bit before you do that. Then you put a little bit of paint on it. Boy, it's been a while since I've done this, you can tell. But you really don't want a lot of paint. And I don't like to use the paper towel because it leaves kind of, that's too much. Let's go a little bit more. Now I'm going to put more color on it, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But you can see I'm actually getting more paint on here than you would think. And it's really nothing. It looks like there's nothing left on the brush when you do it. But I feel it's still a little bit too much. Let's see what I do here. I'm not getting the effect I want here, so... But let me clean the brush. Now, it's not terrible if you have paint on the dry brush, because once it's dry, it makes no difference. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit, because you do not... It's chalky. I don't know, and I don't have... The paint is kind of running out. Let's see if I can do it on a little bit of an edge and see if it's still working. Yeah, it's fine. Let's go for it. So I don't want as much in the channel, so I'm kind of over applying it for the end result here. And it's really, I'm kind of probably working, I mean, you can do a much better job dry brushing to give it a more crisp application, and that's sort of kind of what I really wanted here. But I didn't want to use a large, I actually have better luck getting that with a larger brush, but I don't want to get white all over from, now I have a tiny, I showed that one, maybe that's what I should have used, but I don't know that I would have gotten the results either. But yeah, this is a very tiny one. And I might have made it too wet, right? That's the other thing. It's really the tiniest amount of moisture. If you want to see some great dry brushing videos, the guy's a great painter in general, but on Artist Opus they have videos that they do regularly, and I haven't watched him for a little while, but he's just great. Lots of, and just a phenomenal dry brush artist as well. He's a great painter, although I don't think he's probably, I don't think he thinks of himself as that great, but he is, and it really comes down to how fantastic of a dry brusher he is. But he does like a wetter application on some of that stuff than I do. I mean, that's just my 20 years ago dry brushing, thing, which, is it any good? I don't know. And I remember it being like chalky. So I learned a lot about it in my opinion on that, but wow, it's still pretty wet. Let me see if I can dry it up a little bit. Because I've seen people do it, and I'm like, wow, that is just not what I understand dry brushing to be. But there's no arguing with the end results. They're doing something different though, but it's still pretty awesome. It's a dry-ish brush. But yeah, dampening the brush though is helpful. So I think I put too much water in. He has if you buy their kits, maybe if you buy one of their brushes, but you probably have to buy the kit or individually buying a little sponge that they have, a moisture sponge that they use to moisten the bristles a little bit. But I mean, believe me, take it from the guy. He is really so good that it's worth checking it out. So let's see here. I really want to put on the tiniest amount of paint. I'm trying to just put on a little bit. Still too much, I think. Now, fresh thing of paper towel. I do need to pull out that board. So I basically made a laser cut board that I engraved the surface to be the, wow, it just came right off. So who knows? Is there, I mean, look at that. There's no paint. I don't know. I guess it's putting some on there. Sure looks like it is. Not enough. So this is the first time I've ever applied it that way. I generally just touch it in, and I guess I'll do that this time. Goodness, it's just not there. Too much. Too little, I mean. That looks better. I kind of feel like I've lost it with the application. Maybe I'm putting on too much of the, it's not enough of a glaze after I put the dry brushing on. I think the paint is just too dry. I mean, this paint came out of the bottle like really kind of lumpy. The old bottle of, wow, it really is. Maybe it is too dry. The old bottle of, there we go, that's looking more like it. The old bottle of Pro Acryl. I say old, I don't know when I bought it. Yeah, it's not crisp enough here. Maybe it's just the shape that I'm dry brushing on is just not going to give me that result, because it is kind of undulating and a lot less crisp. But if you look, there's just no paint there. But I will clean it anyway. You don't want to soak these. They're not designed like a paintbrush for sure. So yeah, definitely don't go crazy with it. I should do the Fantastic Four. I don't remember if they're in, they must be in the last wave. I don't remember though. I do have them. Let me actually look and see where it is. I should do them. I mean, that would be fun if I was timing with the movie. I'm not smart. Let's see here. So I actually have all my collection on, I could use the app, but I don't know. I don't look at it with the app usually. But let me look, see if I can see my collection. But we have everything marked where it's at. My Geek. Hey, thanks for the follow, DJ Dr. Jabri. DJ. How you doing, Dr. Jabri? Where's my collection? Oh, you know, it's probably under my profile. No, oh, I'm not signed in. Well, that would be a problem. Let me just use the other. I'm signed in on Chrome. So let's see here. Go to my collection. They moved the stuff around. I like it, but I'm not 100% remembering where everything's at. So let's just put Fantastic Four. Is it F-O-U-R or F-O, or the letter, the number 4? Let me just put 4. Marvel Zombies, no. Let me, it might be part of a box of something else. I will go down the list. So anyway, I have all of my collection in, and then I put that I own them, and then, hey, notice that I don't have that. What is that? Guardians of the Galaxy Remix. I think that's a non-Kickstarter version of it. I don't think they have as many of those in the latest stuff. But yeah, so 2021 Kickstarter was for the X-Men. It was 2022. I don't think they delivered till 2023. Phoenix 5. But yeah, it would be good if I did those. That would be awesome. I mean, I have, oh, there you go, Coming of Galactus. I'm at Pinhead. I have that for sure because I have the mini somewhere over here. So yeah, that would be cool. That came out this year. I mean, I got them this year. It's a massive collection. Wow, this is not zooming. Cool. Okay, well, enough of that. But yeah, that would be great. And I would love to do Galactus. I mean, that's one I'm eager to do, but I'm a little nervous about that one because I'll probably end up doing more dry brushing or airbrushing than standard painting of that one. I'll probably still do a Zenithal undercoat. From Bahrain, wow, thanks for joining us. So yeah, I'm painting Immortus here. I think it's a little too, like I've sort of lost the intensity of that little dry brush that I did, and it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna go with this as it is. Although I feel that one's the better looking one for whatever reason. Maybe it had more paint. So if I do this lighter, let me just make a little bit more of a mix and see if it gives me a better result. Even though I like that one, I'm just gonna do a little bit more of the paint in another reservoir and then add more speed paint to give it a more subtle application of color. Okay, so I need the speed paint medium. So yeah, never push on these bottles too much. You know, if it's not coming out, because they're pretty fluid, and if you squeeze the bottle too much, it will absolutely shoot out the Hey, thanks for the follow, Tableau Do. Tableau Do. So yeah, if I put this on in a more thinner, lower intensity of color, it might give me more what I want. It's just to knock down that white just a bit. What are you up to, Tableau Adieu? Adieu. That looks pretty good. Now it's not dry, but it looks pretty good. Now you can see a little bit too much paint in these crevices, so it made it very dark. Now it's not a big deal, but you do have to watch out for that stuff when you are using contrast paints and speed paints in general. It's what they call coffee staining and some other names, because if you let it settle and it's too strong, it'll pool and then just be way darker than everything else. I've been able to fix it in some of my paint jobs, particularly on capes. I can show you one here that I painted. Probably this one. So yeah, this one has a little bit of it. You can see it here. Now, it doesn't look too bad on there. It's a fabric cape, you know. These need to be put away. But you can see, you know, I did some stuff trying to get that to look not intense. This is not the one I'm really thinking of. It might be this one here with the lantern. Yeah, there you can absolutely see it right there. So I tried to like cover up that little bit of a coffee stain thing. It did a weird, and I might have touched it. That's the other thing when you paint any of these speed paints or contour, any paints really, you need to just let them dry. If you keep moving it, what does the Galactus look like? He's amazing. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. He's not right here. I thought he'd be right here. You know, I think we put away all the minis. We had actually taken them and put them in a bin because the dust was getting bad. But I'm eager. I mean, I'm excited to see the movie. I hope it's good. I really love. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is Galactus the Devourer for. We have this one. I don't think I can. Maybe I can zoom it this way. No, but we have this mini. It's not really a mini. It's gigantic. It's for Marvel Zombies, but that's not what I'm looking for. Marvel. I typed Marvel United Galactus. What the heck? This is what he looks like here. It's pretty fantastic, and you can see the guy's hand there. It's pretty big. The other one that's for Marvel Zombies is huge, and I want to paint it. It's Scott's. It's not mine. I have some. Actually, Scott somehow had a couple of extra. Maybe bought a few things. I don't know. So he let me have those boxes. I was trying to be good and not. Here's another. This is what the one looked like. I think we saw this one at Gen Con last year. This painted version, and it was amazing. These are done by Big Child Creative. They're the ones that actually designed the minis as well. I don't know what's going on. You know, Simon has been letting go of people now. You know, that was its own company, but I am a little nervous as to what the end result will be. I'm hoping. I have a lot of money in on the Marvel, not Marvel, DC Heroes United, which is it's a compatible system. They're not selling it like you can play them together, but you can absolutely play DC and Marvel together, which will be fun. I went in all in on it, except for maybe I didn't buy the playmat. I don't think. I sure hope not. We already have one. And I didn't buy the tokens because the only token that they were giving you that was different than the rest was, I don't remember what they call them. I'm think of them as thugs, but they're just like the standard people that that you have to manage in the game, and they needed to flip over and reveal something else, and so they double printed those. You know, printed both sides like they do, but they had a different image, and so they ended up saying that they would include stickers to make that happen, so that you can convert some of the ones you already have. And I only bought one set of the plastic tokens. So, yeah, isn't that cool? Really, it's a really great, looks like a great mini. It's fun. They have a bunch of big ones in the last batch. I think they have, you know, Cassie maybe from, you know, Ant-Man's daughter as a giant on like a house or something like that, you know, blown up. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of great stuff on that. It's funny, I was thinking about what Lawrence Fishburne had been doing the other day, and I forgot, and he's in a movie recently, but I forgot he was also in Ant-Man, so the third Ant-Man, I think. Is that right? No, not the third Ant-Man, the second one. He might be in the third one too. Gosh, that's a long time ago then. I think that was 2018, maybe 2019. I don't know. I mean, his daughter was in the new one too, so I don't know. You know, older version of the daughter, I think. Maybe confusing things. I think she was still young in the second one, so who knows? Anyway, these look good though. This guy's, but notice how shiny that the Basilicanum Gray that I spilled. Like, why would that be shiny? It's very weird. So I'm going to have to matte that down a little bit, which is fine. I'm going to matte the whole thing down. But isn't that strange? I don't understand what happens. Definitely don't spill the paints. I've spilled two. I spilled, well, that's probably not 100% true. I think I didn't spill it, but like I was using one of these and somehow had this in here and red got out. I'm like, what is going on? And I've used a lot of this one. I'm still above half. And this is actually a second wave paint. This one is not exactly the same. It doesn't function exactly the same as other contrast because it's a single pigment paint. So it still settles. It's especially effective if you're doing what I'm doing, which is highlighting with an airbrush, or if you're dry brushing, it'll do its own shading, but it's meant to do its own shading over a single color undercoat. And it's, I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but it's not as effective as others that actually settle with darker pigments and stuff. I'm not even sure how they do all that, but it's pretty great. You know, I don't know what the pigments are, but those look okay. They look a little bit like, so they, you know what, it looks like they did. Now it's a different base actually. You know, when they do the examples, and I'll tell you, it's very weird. Nothing from DC United, DC Heroes United. There's the stuff during the campaign of painted. Usually during the campaign they show you painted minis. So I don't know what's going on with Big Child, if maybe they're doing it because they have a book that they're supposedly, I paid for, that's like how to paint the minis and stuff like that. And maybe they'll do it all in there, but I cannot imagine they're going to put all 100 and something minis in that book, but maybe they will. I sure hope so. I mean, I've definitely used these. The source that they do for the art is based on these. You know, it's all comic stuff, but I think I could probably be fine with it. I don't need to look at I'm not looking at their stuff for the paint. Well, sort of. Now that I think about it, I was doing the stones, right, on the one, and that came entirely from the photo. I would not have thought of that probably. And so, I don't know. These are good though. They're different. Each one of them is slightly different for sure. I really like this one though. He's really, I think I kind of want to go back and maybe brighten those little bits here because I want them to be the same. I usually give the best ones to everybody else when I mean, I always do. It's not usually, because I know how I can, I mean, I do, none of them are terrible, but like, I was going to show you that the Adam Warlock, and he is just not, it just didn't come out the way I wanted. And you know, the colors are like red, yellow, blue, you know what I mean? That's the biggest problem with all of this stuff, is that there's a lot of the same color usage in comics. I mean, you know, I think it depends on what you're looking at. I am eager to see, I sure hope they can deliver the DC United stuff. I really would be bummed. Again, I put a lot of money into it, so wow, it is very shiny. Very weird. Like shinier than I even think. Maybe I put contrast medium on, because I do have a glossy medium, but I never pulled that down. I would have absolutely bet that I put Lamian medium on. Wow. Very strange. So once this is dry, I will put a coat of probably, so I use, might as well show, I show them all the time. I use these varnishes, AK Interactive. I like them. As a company, I guess they kind of are questionable. Their Ultra Matte is amazing. It's very, very matte. As a matter of fact, this one was painted with that. I believe. I might have actually because this was, I think, the second one I painted. And I like this one a lot. But I generally don't go with just the Ultra Matte. I will do like a couple drops of this and a couple drops of that. I think I was doing 3 and 2, but maybe it was the other way around, 3 and 2. I really should write that formula down. And you know, just put it on a Post-it note. It's one of the things I use the most because I use it on every miniature. Satin is a little too shiny for me. I still use it, but I don't use it as much. And they are definitely different consistencies. Like one of these is much thicker than the others, and it might be the matte. It might be really the satin, but it might be the matte. And this one might be the most fluid. I don't know. But I generally put those on, and it does a pretty great job. I try to do 2 coats. I really should try airbrushing it. I'm a little nervous about airbrushing varnish because I know it's very hard on your airbrush. If you clean it, it should be okay, but I have enough airbrushes that I would say that I will use for that kind of stuff that I shouldn't worry about it. Just go ahead and do that. Yeah, he looks good. So that's pretty much all I really need to do on these guys. This is the level I will do them at. Let's see what time it is. Oh, 12:01. Goodness. Getting there. I won't stop yet, though. So let's try to do... I got those paints out to do specifically that and then got distracted with other stuff. Yeah, this is drying very quick. I mean, it is dry here. We are... Even though I think the humidity is a little higher right now. But it definitely behaves differently than the black. And you know, I don't know if I bought the black at the same time. I might have. Oh, I don't want to do that one. Let's do this one. Goodness. Wow, it looks like it has a little bit of stuff there too on this one. I wonder if it's something on the mini. I was saying it was bird droppings, I think, when I was painting this before. It's funny, so this is pretty darkened up paint, and it's still very white. You can... Vincent Venturella has been doing a bunch of videos. I mean, he's great. You want to learn some stuff about painting, he is great. And he's just a great painter as well. I don't know what he's doing, because he used to not... People were trying to get him to do a Patreon and stuff, and now he's doing it. And I think he should be. And I think he's doing... Hopefully he's doing well on it. But people are really catching on to his videos. I mean, I've watched a lot of these folks for years. Miniac was a long time ago. Maybe not when he first started, but it was still not a lot of people watching. Midwinter Mini's the same thing. I think he had like 4,000. And same with... what is his name? Squidmar. And I have one of his brushes, airbrushes. It's cool. I'm happy to have it. I like the I think that's actually a great airbrush too. I like the Harder and Steenbeck brushes a lot. And I have 2 or 3. I think I have 2 now. I feel like I have I should look. But I find that man, I'm getting it all over the place. I find that I do a better job in some ways with the Badgers that I've used forever. Badger airbrushes, I like them a lot. Their parts are easy to get. They're generally available here, whereas Harder and Steenbeck can be a bit of a challenge. They have stuff on Amazon. They actually have their airbrushes on Amazon. at pretty decent prices, which is great. And then I find that I can usually get their parts from Spray Gunner. I've gotten parts for all the airbrushes from Spray Gunner. They're pretty great. Bird droppings. Oop, it's coming off this. Getting on here every time. Wow, I'm really touching that. Okay, that's pretty good. So a lot of this will be knocked down by the wash. I'm actually running out of the gray. Probably should just use the other holder. The other holder. I think the putty on that is getting tired. You can actually massage it a bunch, knead it a bunch, massage it, and it will get sticky again. But I thought I kneaded it enough today, and I guess I didn't. This is better. I think this is what I did the last time too. Oops, I'm sorry, off camera, getting all carried away. That looks pretty good. Let me go back to the one I was working on there and see if I need to do any of that. I probably do. It's a little too scratchy, but you know, it'll all get reduced in intensity here. Ugh. Also means I wouldn't get it on the base as much if I did that, so. Okay. Pretty good. Oh yeah, Marvel United. It's a really fun game. It's crazy that, you know, so CMON has sold off a bunch of their games recently. They sold Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Ankh. And then they also sold Starcadia Quest and Arcadia Quest, and then they just sold Zombicide to Asmodee. And that's because they're trying to, you know, they've had a rough year of just disappointing sales and things like that. So they're trying to keep it together for to finish the other projects that they have. They have a lot of projects. So I'm not sure, you know, part of what I think the issue is they run Kickstarters. I mean, essentially, that can't entirely be true though, but to do some, essentially doing reprints, but I think it's mostly with like Zombicide, it's just the next edition of it. Wow, that really is very shiny. I need to knock that down. It's going to drive me crazy. So let's do a little bit of the Ultra. So I'm hoping it will be enough to keep everything in shape, but you know, they've gotten rid of all of their development design people, and you know, those people are going to move on. So I don't know what the end game is. I'm really bummed because I don't, you know, Zombicide's not necessarily my game, but I mean, I still think it's pretty neat. And I have a bunch of Marvel Zombies. I almost went all in on it, and I just was like, I don't need it. I really don't need it. And I still got a few things because Scott was nice enough to give me a couple extra things that he had, and I will be painting his Galactus Gigantic Mini. But I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it's really kind of, so yeah, that's pretty thin. I was saying that the Ultra Matte Varnish is thin, and it is. It's pretty darn thin. Don't need a tower of boxes. I mean, I already have towers. I mean, above me is so much Games Workshop stuff. So much. It's terrible. And I love Warhammer Underworlds. I really want to get the new one because I haven't played it yet. And it's not, you know, it's a very quick little skirmish game. But it's cool. Yeah, this is like Elmer's glue almost, thinned down Elmer's glue. But yeah, it's bad. I have to really, I have to figure out what I'm going to do. There's just too many games. We are definitely collect the games that we like. What did I do with that brush? Did I knock it down? But I'm trying not to buy so much. I mean, really. Okay, I use a different brush for varnish, and I recommend that you do too. It's different. It dries on the brush a little bit too much. So I was going to just do the stones here. Let's see how we get here. It's so shiny I can't tell that I'm actually, whether I've put the varnish on. It's okay, you can always put another coat on. I'm sorry you're not seeing this. That's already looking madder. You can't really tell, but it dries pretty quickly. And it's pretty matte. So that's probably the level that I normally like, unless I want something to be... Fabrics, I tend to do a little bit more matte. Leather's a little bit more gloss. So I did not do this mix yet on it. Do I want to do that, though? It's pretty shiny. Maybe I won't. Yeah, whatever. Just do what I did on the other one. So there it is, it's mostly dry. It's really quite mattes it down. I wonder if I missed this over here. Maybe. I think the first one was a little scratchier, which maybe is better, but it's not what they painted. I was kind of trying to go a little bit more with it. What they did, and I don't know. You do whatever you want on these things, that's for sure. You don't even have to match these colors. I do have a Marvel encyclopedia of all the characters that I can use as reference. You know, it's just to give you an idea. I will say though, after in the second campaign, the X-Men campaign, they included front and back of the minis, and I was really happy because like some of that is just you figuring out what is actually happening here. You know, what am I seeing and what am I coloring? And it turned out fine. I don't really know. I still don't know what they had on the back side of theirs, but it was funny to me that they didn't include that. but then they started to do that on the second wave and the third wave, and they were doing it on the DC one, and I don't know what's happening. I sure hope they survive. I do like what Simon does. They're going to be doing, I guess, more focusing a little bit on some smaller games, and they've done that before. I loved, I think they did the Grizzled. You know, they didn't originally do it, but then they also did Krios, which we did on the show. I really liked. Very small little game. Oh, and they also did Gizmos, which was a Phil Walker Harding game. It was kind of sad when they stopped doing it. I don't think it was as successful as they'd hoped. But I liked it all. I thought it was great. How much do I have invested in these so far? You mean time on these minis, or in the game, in the dollars in the whole system? Dollars in the system, a lot. I figure the first one was like 200 something, the next one was nearly 400, or was, and then this latest one was 500. So it's like $1,100 or something like that. That's just crazy. I don't know what the heck, you know. I've been painting that with this brush that I was using as my glaze brush. I mean my varnish brush. It's okay as long as you clean it. I mean, you can actually mix them together. They are acrylic, but killer. Okay. Painting time. Oh, not that much. I spent a little bit of time on the capes because I did the shading that, it's actually 3 of them that I'm painting here. I did do the, what I was saying earlier is I painted them, you know, after airbrushing it, which, you know, doesn't take that long. I did the the wash of the color. I used on the capes, I used this Moonlight Coral from Army Painter Speed Paints. And then the most time I spent on the whole mini was painting these folds with a very thin down amount of the fluorescent purple, and I just kept building it till I got the brightness that I wanted. I wish I had one that was not knocked down. So then after that, I let it dry, and then I put a varnish of, not a a glaze of the Moonlight Coral that's just the speed paint medium here, and not a lot of the color to bring down the, number one, to give you more smoother blending, even though it was pretty good. And then brings down the intensity of the fluorescent color, which is good. I mean, I like the fluorescent color, and I was 50% like, do I want to do this? But I'm happy with the end result. And I really like these. I think they're fun minis. I have a really good time. I have fun with the game. We've played it actually quite a bit. I think we played X-Men, the base game. So that's the most recent thing we played. I haven't played any of the Multiverse yet. That might not be true. I feel like we played something on streams at one point. But no Multiverse. As much as I'd like to play that one. I really want to move. I should actually just do it and see how much of it fits. We have the new GameGenic Castle Keep, I guess. Game Castle. And it's a new bin that has what we love is their, well, one of the things we love is the token silos. And so it has a full XL token silo with a few extra bins. On one side, and the other side it's got like 6 or more card bins, and I want to sleeve everything and put them in there. I do not think it's going to get all of the Marvel Unite in there. It's probably going to take 2 of them at least. I don't know. And there's a lot of cards, especially with 100 characters. So yeah, but I think I've painted probably 3 times on this stream, maybe, of this. And so probably, again, I chatter a whole bunch, so you can't really judge it, but I probably got 6 hours into these, maybe a little more than that. Does not look like, did I just, oh, you know, I'm crazy. I just painted this, that's why it's shiny. This is the varnish one. Looks good though. Now I need to do the varnish in general. Well, let's just do the base and see what we got here. I was using the yellow brush. I think that is correct. Oh, I really should put this on a holder. So I generally varnish at the very end after I've done the base, but I'm going to do this now. See what we get. Did anybody watch the Andor season 2 or Andor in general? It was pretty good. I mean, it's actually quite good, but and you know, it's fun to hear that story. I don't know that it was necessary, but I did like Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, and that was cool. I know they were talking about 5 seasons. I can't even imagine that. I mean, I'm sure you could tell like a great story, but is it necessary? And you know, I'm painting 3 of them. If you're not painting 3 of them, you know, I am saving some time by doing them both, you know what I mean, because I'm able to keep moving. And you know, you can do that with the standard ones too. You know, if you're not doing multiples, you just work on multiple different ones at a time. And while you're waiting for one thing to dry, you move on to the next one. You know, it's very, very helpful to paint that way, for me anyway. I can't remember, I think I saw a video from Goobertown Hobbies where they were saying, I think they were, the 2 of them were doing it, the eBay Mini Rescue and Brent. And they, I think they had a mixed feeling about like trying to get 2 armies done. I don't know. That, I mean, they were doing a lot in a short time, so that's a different thing. I mean, you know, if you want to play tournaments and stuff and you want to have a new army, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like having a full army, like I know, well, Sebastian is a fine example. He's got lots of painted armies, and you know, Warhammer Underworld's factions and war bands and stuff. So it's awesome. I mean, I love that people have the gumption to do that. I wished I mean, I don't have any kind of like those events. I do have like, I'm trying to do minis for the game night. I was trying to get these guys done for the Multiverse, but I wasn't thinking I should have been doing Fantastic Four. And I'm not getting there on these either. This is number 1 out of the Multiverse box. And now I'm painting 3. But I haven't been able to paint on my own, which is important for me, like to get things done. Number 1, I'm not chatting as much. And believe me, I actually like the chatting, it's fun. But it's not conducive to getting it done quickly, I suppose. Now, you don't have to go crazy on varnishing underneath, right? You're not going to get in there too much. It's mostly to avoid handling, you know, like handling the minis. I mean, already it's pretty matte, but I like it. That's a fabric. I don't know if you can really see it, but on his chest here, it's got a matte quality to it that's nice. That was 2 parts gloss and 2, I mean not gloss, matte and 2 parts ultra matte. let's try that again. I mean, I'm going to make some more because I want to finish this guy off. I should be doing, well, the other ones are not quite done either. But this one's closer, I feel. Yeah, I'm really, I don't know how far along I'm on this. Oh, I still got a lot of this left. I keep thinking I'm going to be out of it soon, but I'm not. Now the other one is thicker, so I may be applying more or pouring in more, you know. The other one's like drop, drop. This one is literally a glob. It's crazy how different it is. It really looks like white glue, like a thinner white glue. But I will give these all at least 2 coats of paint, a varnish. The varnish is more effective when it's the glossier it is, like it's more protective. But I just don't want, first of all, I don't want them to look like that. Now I may actually put a little bit more of a gloss on, I don't know, actually I don't know. Have to reserve judgment for that. One of the things I do actually is when I'm doing something like, I probably would have actually done that on the stones, although I'm not really worried about it so much because it's a looser kind of thing I'm going for. But if I was doing like the pinstripes, I did the pinstripes on Kingpin, and on actually I think I really did it on because I've only painted one Kingpin so far, but I think I did it on Howard the Duck. I painted the color on, and then I varnished it before I did the pinstripes, so that I can easily clean it up if I made a bad stroke, you know. And I was like, it's hard. I actually did better, I think, on the first one than I did on the Kingpin than I did on Howard the Duck. Now, Howard the Duck turned out fine, but it was a little bit less fantastic of a feeling. I really was very happy with things when I was done with Kingpin and not so much on Howard. So the one time I actually I've airbrushed, it's probably twice now, a varnish, and I made the mistake of airbrushing indoors on that and not wearing a mask. Now I thought I was going to be quick, right? Varnish is very light, but within 40 seconds I was breathing that stuff and it was not great. And so I haven't done it since. Well, it's not true. I said twice, and that's true. but I haven't done it much. And the other one I did outdoors with that little compressor that I have. Yeah, it's kind of scary. So you definitely need a respirator. I have one now. I had one actually before that. I should have used it. I just was thinking, oh, it's just going to be quick. No. You should always wear protection when you're airbrushing. I have this spray booth behind me, and that allows me to airbrush in here without a mask, because it does a really good job of pulling it in. Now, I still probably wouldn't paint varnish with it for whatever reason. It's pretty nasty, and but I mean, it lays really flat, so it's not really necessary as far as to spray it instead of brushing it. But I do want to just do it and see if I'm happier with the results. I think I was reading. I mean, I know I was in that Coopertown Hobbies did a thing where he varnished a ton of minis and then moved them. You know, like had a time. I mean, it's great. He's just a really interesting creator, and he basically was eating Funyuns and moving the pieces. So like washing his hands as much as you might, you know, but really not, just to try to see how much moving the characters would do damage. And the sprayed on ones, now I don't know if that includes, I don't remember if that includes sprayed on with an airbrush, but the sprayed on ones were more effective. I would imagine it probably is with an airbrush as well, because you're just doing more consistent coats. I mean, I'm trying here, but I'm not. I know it's not perfectly even and smooth. Well, that looks pretty good already. You can see like all of this is drying pretty much, and it looks good. Murderbot on Apple TV, huh? That's cool. Yeah, Andor was neat, though I don't love Tony Gilroy, but I think he did a nice job on the show. I know he came in and helped on Rogue One, which I feel he takes too much credit for, but I'm sure he helped. But part of that is, you know, it's like he is a writer, and I don't think Gareth Edwards is that much of a writer. I'm eager to see his Jurassic Park. I mean, I've not been knocked out by the Jurassic Park stuff since the first one. I mean, there are things that I like about the second one, maybe. That one was pretty bad. And the third one actually was at least interesting to me. Gosh, was Ben Affleck in that? No, it wasn't Ben Affleck. It was Vince Vaughn. Gosh, that was a long time ago. So yeah, I don't know if, you know, how great the Jurassic Park movies have a chance of being, but I really like Gareth Edwards' Rogue One. Now, he also did the Godzilla, which I thought was okay, and I didn't see his his first more wide release film anyway. But I don't, you know, those poor, Gareth Edwards made it through to the end. Phil Lord and Chris Miller did not, and they got let go, and they brought in Ron Howard on Solo, and I think he did an okay job. I mean, it's fine. I like the movie. I think the casting was good. A lot of people have problems with it, but I'm like, you know, Harrison Ford can't play that anymore. Hey, thanks for the follow, Something Incarnate. How you doing? I'm just kind of wrapping up here on the Marvel United. Been painting these. Different Immortus here. I need to paint. I actually have varnish, so I will probably paint these before I'm done here. I'm cleaning the brush, and I shouldn't yet. But anyway, yeah, I felt, I don't know. You know, I feel like giving, taking, like, Tony Gilroy has won an Oscar, I'm sure, and, you know, he's established. Why get down on the other guy who had troubles? You know, it's not his fault, I don't think. First of all, he didn't write the story. I mean, I'm sure maybe there is some issues that I don't know. It's the same thing with, like, so I don't know if you know, but I believe the Mission Impossible that Brad Bird directed, which was super exciting, and I thought it was great. Ultimately, I guess Brad Bird had troubles. I mean, it's a big thing going from animation to making a film. And, you know, in Tom Cruise movie, no less, with all of the stuff that they do. And so they brought in Chris McQuarrie to help and maybe do more. I don't know. But the thing is Chris McQuarrie has been a gentleman and not said anything. And that is the way to handle it. I'm really disappointed in the way that Tony Gilroy did it. And so I just don't like him. He may be fine. I don't know. But I'm just like, dude, this other guy's starting his career, man. How about, you know, I mean, not that Brad Bird was starting his career, but it was his first directed standard feature. And so I'm just disappointed in it. I don't know. People are like, I'm like, well, whatever. I just feel like he could have been a kinder person, you know what I mean? He ended up making this whole series and he loved it, you know, and they all had a great time. And I think the end result was pretty great. I don't know how successful it truthfully is commercially, but it's a success critically. You know, I think they did a great job. And he could be a more gracious person about all this. I don't know. I'm being goofy, I guess. But I liked it. I thought it was a good show. I was a little, with the first season, I mean, I think this one did the same thing. It's like 3 episodes to get things rolling. I was saddened though, you know, it was like basically you have Mon Mothma's story and then it's separate from the, you know, there's not as much interplay as there was in the beginning of this season, I think. But I don't watch a lot of television either, so it's a rarity. And Nikki's more of a TV watcher than I am, and she's not great about it. She mostly runs things while she's working on other stuff. I can't do that. When I'm editing, which is what I'm mostly doing, I can't run other stuff. Okay, let me see where I'm at. Wow, this crap, did it shut down? Hope it's still going. Wow. So I'm using Google. That could be part of the problem. Well, I guess I'm still going. And Google had problems last week. I guess Scott was telling me that it took a bunch of stuff down. Hey, David, how you doing? So these look good. I think they're mostly done. There's probably a little bit more. I might do a little bit of highlighting on the face, although I like him as it is, kind of. I did not varnish the base on this other one, but I am out of varnish, or pretty much out of varnish. It doesn't clean as easily as the paints do when you take it out. It's persistent, you know, it definitely is a tougher varnish. It's the whole point. Anyway, let's cut to the other camera, and I guess maybe not. Let's see here. There we go. Let's wrap things up. Thanks for joining me today, and thanks for the chat. I really, really appreciate it. It was fun. I hope you all have a good week here. It's just getting started, I suppose. Exciting progress on with your project. Great. David's working on something for the city, I believe. So, anyway, I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you had fun. And thanks for the questions and stuff like that. It's definitely helpful. It's weird, I'm not hearing anything. Did I get disconnected? Oh well. It's definitely possible. with the way the system works. But yeah, it's weird. It's dropped off. I had something where I had this, I think YouTube dropped off one time. So anyway, chat disconnected. Huh. Wonder if this is, I wonder if that's what it died. I am streaming. See if both of them are streaming. Let me see that. No, looks like they're going still. So I don't know what happened with my chat. Let me see if I can refresh that. I don't have, this is the way these are here, the function keys. Function F5. Who knows? Can't, I've got too much glare up there. Looks like I'm back on. Okay. Well, anyway, for the end, you all take care. We may be streaming on Thursday. We may be filming the remainder of the SDJ stuff. I'm not 100% certain. But if we do stream, hopefully you can join us Thursday at 5:30 Pacific Daylight Time. And you all have a great week. And hope you can keep cool. It's definitely hot out. Let me see if I can raid something here. Go to that Chrome. It's so funny. You too, David. Have a great one. Same to you. I'm something incarnate. I'm hoping to have a good week. Let's see here. I think I need to go to the stream manager. I can't. Maybe creator dashboard. It's weird. I don't understand why that's not on the stream manager. Nope. Something's not visible. There we go. Anyway, let's see if we can raid somebody. You take care, Circe. Potential 2 days until the next. It's true. Let's see if there's anybody we're following on. If you're on YouTube, you can come over to Twitch and join us. It looks like Bonds is Doomling's co-stream. BGA Games. Let's raid Dave Luza. He's on Board Game Arena, and it's evening for him, so if you want to join in, click on through and say hello on the other end. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Let's see if this goes. Okay, bye everybody on Twitch. Take care. And YouTube, you guys take care as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you guys all have a great one. Bye-bye, everybody.